Good afternoon. Today we will discuss about peripheral blood smear. PBS is also called it peripheral blood smear. So first, the most important thing you have to know why you want to draw a peripheral blood smear. That means what are the things you want to gain by examination of a peripheral blood smear. Number one, you know about RBC series. So what do you know? First, you know about the apparent chromatia of the RBC. So they are light stained, light pink stained, or they are deeply stained. Now chromatia of RBC depending upon the central pallor of RBC. Do you know what is central pallor means? If you draw an RBC, then in the central part there is usually a clear zone and the rest part will be the pink in color, like this. Like this, you see, the central part will be the clear zone, central pallor, and the rest part will be the color. Now the central pallor should be less than 1/3 of the total diameter of the RBC. If this is present, then we can say that this RBC is normochromic or its chromatia is normal. So its diameter So the diameter of the central pallor should be less than 1/3 of that of the total diameter of the RBC. Now when the central pallor increases in size, as you see in the side picture, when the central pallor increases in size, then we call it a hypochromic RBC. So from this you can easily know the chromatia. That is most important thing. Now next you know the size of the RBC. So size of the RBC, what is the normal diameter of RBC? Approximately we know it is 7.2 micron. Now if you have a measurement instrument attached to your microscope, then you can easily measure it. But usually the microscopes do not have that facility. So you have to compare with something. So what thing you will compare? You compare with the nucleus of a small lymphocyte. A nucleus of a small lymphocyte is approximately 7 micron thick. Diameter. So it will be equal to an RBC. So RBC, which is almost same diameter of that of a nucleus of a small lymphocyte, is a normocytic RBC. If it is larger in size, then it is called macrocyte, and if it is smaller in size, then it is called microcytes. So from peripheral smear examination of RBC, we can know the chromatia of the RBC, and we also can know about the anisocytosis or variation in size of the RBC. Next we know the poikilocytosis. So poikilocytosis means abnormality in size and shape. So there are different types of abnormal RBCs which may sometimes help in diagnosis. Just see. So this type of RBC you can see. So there is a central colored portion, then there is non-colored portion, and there is again colored. So this is called a target cell. A target cell is thought to be specific for different disorder, but its level will be very much increased in case of thalassemia. So it is a target cell, and you can see there is also it is a hypochromic cell, but it is known as target cell. Then this shape of the RBC, this is called a sickle cell. So sickle cell, it is seen in sickle cell anemia, where the normal shape of the RBC is lost and it becomes sickle in size. So this is known as a sickle cell. Normal shape of the RBC is lost and it becomes lip-shaped. So this is known as leptocytes. These are known as leptocytes. So in this way, different types of poikilocytes we can identify. So again I am repeating, we can see RBC, the chromatia of the RBC, the anisocytosis of the RBC, and the poikilocytosis of the RBC. Next we can see if there is any nucleated RBC. Normally the RBC are anucleated cells. There is no nucleus. But before that, but the normoblasts are the precursor cells from which cells the RBC are formed. So the normoblasts should normally present in the bone marrow. But sometimes these normoblasts will come into the circulation. So they look like this. So RBC with nucleus. So they are known as normoblast. RBC with nucleus. So you can also identify the nucleated RBC. Next, the chromatia. Normally RBC are slightly pink in color because they take the eosin stain. Now normally in the RBC there is no nuclear element, but in some stages there can be remnants of nucleus within the RBC, and then the RBC will stain in both will take both the stain of the pink as well as blue. So they appeared as multicolored, and those RBCs are called polychromatic RBC or simple polychromatia. So from examination of PBS you can know, again I am repeating, about the chromatia, about the size, about the shape, about the presence of nuclear RBC, and also about the presence of polychromatia present or absent. And finally you can see also different nuclear inclusions. Just remember, like Howell-Jelly bodies, which are also degenerated products of hemoglobin or some nuclear remnants. And you can also identify different intra RBC parasites like malaria, like babesiosis, so and trypanosomiasis. So these are the importance of examination of PBS for RBC series. The next is WBC series. In WBC series you can comment about the approximate value of the total count. You cannot say the total count. For total count calculation there are other instruments, we will tell this thing. But you can also guess about the approximate total count of WBC, number one. Number two, you can also identify the differential count. What are the different WBCs which are present in the peripheral blood? There are agranulocytes and granulocytes. Granulocytes are 3 in number: neutrophil, eosinophil and basophil, whereas agranulocytes are two in number, monocyte and lymphocyte, of which in adults the commonest cell is the neutrophils, approximately 40 to 70%, whereas in case of children the commonest cell are the lymphocytes, which varies from 40 to 55%. Okay, so you can also know the differential count. Now that if there is any abnormality in the differential count, that can also be seen. Suppose a fungal infection or an allergic infection, there will be increase in the eosinophil. So that you can also comment from looking from the peripheral smear. Or also there is some acute infection, acute bacterial infection. So there will be increase in the neutrophil. So you can also comment from this by seeing the peripheral smear. So in the peripheral smear, you will in WBC series you will see the approximate total count, and you can also do the differential count and the individual proportion of different leukocytes. Apart from that, you can see the evidence of infection in different WBC. The evidence of infection in neutrophils are, they are normally neutrophil are granulocytes, so they contain some granules, but an infected neutrophil will contain larger and coarser granules. Larger and coarser granules like this. Normally the granules are fine, but here you will get larger and coarser granules, and you may also get some vacuolation, cytoplasmic vacuolations. So these are changes in the neutrophil. Changes in the lymphocyte as a result of infection, there can be loose open chromatin. Normally the lymphocyte chromatin is very dense, but there can be loose open chromatin with deep blue cytoplasm with evidence of vacuolations. And you can also find in the WBC some abnormal cells. The precursor cells which should be present in the bone marrow like normoblast may come out into the peripheral circulation, and you can identify them as precursor cells or even the blast cells. So WBC series examination, you can know the approximate count, you can know the differential count, you can know the percentage of different cells, and you know the evidence of infection, and also you can identify presence of any abnormal cell. Okay, and the third thing are the rest series platelet. So platelets, you can identify the approximate number of the platelet, if there is any presence of platelet clumps or not, and number 3, if there is any abnormal morphology of platelet like mega platelet. So these are the findings. So peripheral blood smear examination will give you idea about the cells of the blood, and from there we can have idea about the disease condition. So that will give some idea about the RBC, that will give some idea about the WBC, and that will give some idea about the platelets. Okay. Now the practical portion, that is how to draw a PBS and how to stain it. So how to draw a PBS? How to draw a PBS? First, you needed blood. So that blood can be collected as the one like a previous mission, either from the capillary blood from the fingertip or venous blood from the vein. So just you take a drop of blood and you put over a slide. A slide, glass slide you have seen. A glass slide is about 7.5 centimeter long, and it is about 2.5 centimeter width, and the thickness is about 1 millimeter. So the total dimension will be 7.5 into 10 into 25 into 1. Okay. So now suppose this is a slide. This is the slide. So what you will do, you just take a drop of blood over the slide. This drop of blood, according to your experience, should not be too large or too small. That you have to identify what is the approximate size by experience. Now over this slide, you have to touch another slide. So you touch here another slide. Now look, the drop is closer to one end, but not touching the end. That is very important. Now you touch the drop with a slide. If you touch, then the drop of blood will spread along the slide. And again look, the slide which we have used, that is not reaching the margin of the slide over which the PBS is drawn. So the distribution of the smear will be like that it will not touch the margins. Now you have to draw that slide in a forward in an angle of 45 degree in a smooth movement. So what will be the result? The result will be a tongue-shaped smear, a tongue-shaped blood smear which will be formed and which is smooth, there is no serration, and which does not touch rather any of the margins. Now this is an ideal PBS. So what are its criteria? Number 1, it should be tongue-shaped. Number 2, there should not be any serrations. Number 3, it should be smooth. Number 4, it should not touch the ends. Okay. Now for this thing, what you have to do, you have to ensure that the slide should be grease free. So you must clear the slide with the help of some cotton just before putting the drop of blood. Number 2, the spreader you use, that should be very, very smooth. So the edge of the spreader must be very, very smooth. So these are the criteria which must be fulfilled for drawing an ideal PBS. Okay. Now we have drawn it. Now what do? You let it dry for some time, and you let it dry in the normal atmosphere without putting any extra heat. So now it has become dry. Now you have to stain it. So which stain you use? You use commonly a Leishman stain. A Leishman stain is a Romanowsky stain where there is a combination of both basic dye as well as acid dye. In case of Leishman stain, the composition is Leishman powder dissolved in acetone-free methyl alcohol. Why acetone-free? Because acetone will cause destruction to the cell membrane with cellular damage. What is the composition of Leishman powder? It is eosinated methylene blue. So there will be eosin as well as methylene blue. These two will be present. What are the functions of the methyl alcohol? Methyl alcohol acts as a dissolvent as well as it acts as a fixative. So you do not use a separate fixative. The Leishman stain stains as well as fixes. So what are the steps? So your slide is dried. Now you put the slide over a staining rack. The criteria is that staining rack should be absolutely horizontal. So there will be no tilting. If there is tilting, there will be deposition of the stain. And the fan overhead should be switched off. Otherwise there can be also irregular drying. Okay, so these two criteria have been fulfilled. Now you put Leishman stain over the slide in drops in order to cover the whole of the surface of the smear. So you count the drops, how many drops you have to do. Now another precaution is that before putting the slide, before putting the stain, you must ensure by a mark what is the upper part of the slide. Unless you mark it, after the staining, when you clear, you may wipe off the smear. So now you have put the Leishman stain in drops. Now you wait for 1 to 2 minutes depending upon the batch of Leishman stain used. After that, you have to add double the volume of Leishman powder distilled water. So if you added 8 drops of Leishman powder, solution, now you have to add 16 drops of distilled water over the slide. And you keep it for 8 to 10 minutes. And look frequently if there is any drying or not. It should not be drying. After these 10 minutes, then you wipe off the extra liquid over the slide and you wash the slide. Particularly the back portion also you must wash very well, and the front portion you just wash without any running water but in drops of water. So after washing, then you keep it in a slanting position in order to get dry, and also this drying should be done by the normal atmosphere, and after drying, now the slide is ready for microscopical examination. So first preparation, ideal smear, then staining and the stain, and finally the third stage is microscope. Now you see this is a long smear. From which area you will see? So you have to choose under microscope. The ideal thing is that you first, after drying, you first examine the smear in low power. And in low power, you identify an area where the RBCs are in a single layer. They are not overlapping and they are also not widely separated from each other. So they are adherent to each other but present in a single layer. And after identifying that area, you put oil over that area and then see under high power oil immersion, that is 100 degree. So choosing is in low power but viewing is in oil immersion. But for shortcut purpose, sometimes we also use high power for the same purpose. Usually the area which is just close to the tongue, as you see, close to the tip of the tongue, as you see the marked cross area in the figure, are usually chosen for examination because in that area the cells are usually white, properly separated. But it is not hard and fast, so you must choose the area by seeing under low power, and then selecting. After selection, you look in the high power or in the oil immersion. So that is today's lesson of peripheral blood smear examination. Thank you very much.